Welcome to the Mindful Healers podcast with
Dr. Jessie Mahoney
and Dr. Ni-Cheng Liang.
We are here to help you learn to pause and be present, awaken your breath, and harness the ripple effects of mindfulness for radiant health.
We get you. We know you. We are you.
We have both been successful on the surface, yet struggling underneath. We have both had cluttered brains, been overwhelmed, and exhausted.
We're healers who have found solutions and want to share them with you.
Join us here to discover a better way.
Welcome. A reminder that our podcast should not be medical advice. And we are so grateful for this recent amazing review of our podcast that we wanted to share it. The rare chance to pause and breathe. There's one thing this podcast has that so many don't. A pace and tone that themselves relaxes you while you absorb the deep wisdom of its hosts. The opening chime is like a Pavlovian call to calm, a downshift into a lower gear that sits more deeply into your soul. And then this is followed by the thoughtful and personal teachings that are the reliable core of every single episode. These women are worth getting quiet to listen to. So thank you so much for that review. And I just wanted to point out that this is exactly the type of aura that we are trying to create with this podcast.
So special to be seen and acknowledged in that way. So much gratitude. Today's episode is dedicated to a discussion about discomfort. We wanted to explore the concepts and feelings of discomfort fully, realizing that discomfort is a part of life. It's not a problem, and it doesn't necessarily need to be fixed. We hope that you will discover along the way that there is discomfort where you are right now and discomfort where you're going. Discomfort is everywhere, but that resisting it makes things much more uncomfortable. Discomfort can also be used as a tool to grow. On the other side of discomfort is fun. And the takeaways of this episode are to not let discomfort get in your way, not shy away from it. When we accept it and allow it and even expect it, it moves through us much more quickly. But we should not ignore discomfort. Discomfort is a message, it's a clue, it's an alert or an alarm, a warning system. And when we take note of the warning system and are mindful and pause and are present with it, we can choose to move forward with intention in ways that lead us to the places in life that we would prefer to be.
In this episode, we're not advocating for you to muscle through clinical depression, anxiety, or trauma on your own. In fact, we're advocating that when you do meet discomfort that is consistently in your zone of overwhelm, that recognition of the discomfort and the degree of the discomfort can help you respond in a healthier way, such as seeking additional help from a mental health professional. So we hope that by listening to this episode, you will become more comfortable with discomfort.
And today, when we talk about discomfort, we are really talking about a lack of comfort or dis-ease. Perhaps there's anxiety, and that shows up as discomfort. Perhaps it's an urge, an uncontrollable urge for something. Sometimes it's self-doubt. And in many of the previous episodes, we've talked about the strategy of noticing. And I want to honor that with discomfort, we usually notice right away. It doesn't usually take much pausing or being present to notice discomfort. But where I see all of us, including myself, fall into the trap is that we judge it and we make the discomfort mean things. And we often resist it and try very hard to make it go away. when the discomfort is actually part of life, just like joy is part of life. Delight, we spoke about a few weeks ago, is part of life, but discomfort and disappointment are also part of life. And so if we can learn to notice the discomfort, which we're already noticing, but using it as a useful warning sign or a clue that we can address, and that when we change things, that might also cause discomfort. And so just noticing once again that discomfort is everywhere. And it's our choice about how we want to experience it and what we want to do with it. And when we do make a choice, this is where we get to move forward more authentically and really becoming who we want to be and doing the things that we want with our life and bringing the things to the world that we want to bring, rather than wasting our time and energy on the discomfort involved. So not doing all of those things in life that you truly want to do and being the person you want to be and bringing what you want to bring into the world causes discomfort. And also doing those things causes discomfort. So realizing the discomfort is not the issue or the problem or the thing that should get in your way. It's just a sign and an alarm bell. So most of us, when we encounter discomfort, rather than responding intentionally, respond with something we like to call in coaching called buffering. And buffering is temporary relief of the discomfort or the negative emotion. And it's temporary in that we usually call them false pleasures, such as Facebook, Instagram, drinking, shopping, spending money, consumerism, eating chocolate, ice cream, all of those things. And so these temporary reliefs to make the discomfort go away immediately often cause pain in the long run, whether it's weight gain or numbing or having a house full of stuff and no money, or hours on Facebook when you're not being mindful and present with your children and your life and whatever else you may want to be a part of in the world. And so when we numb the response or we buffer the response and we avoid and turn away from the discomfort, we don't get the outcome, goal, or just life experience being that we want in our lives. So we wanted to offer today some strategies to discomfort, which are not getting rid of the discomfort. They're experiencing the discomfort, leaning into it, feeling it, mindfully approaching it.
So being mindful of discomfort is allowing the invitation to open up for you to actually lean into it, as opposed to resisting it like most of us habitually do. And again, we want to normalize discomfort as part of day-to-day life. There's this concept of the circles of safety that are taught in the mindfulness-based stress reduction, as well as the mindful self-compassion curricula, as developed originally by John Kabat-Zinn and respectively Kristen Neff and Chris Germer. So the circles of safety are these concentric circles. So there are 3 of these circles. The first inner circle is your zone of safety. So what activities or what kinds of exercises can you do quickly to bring yourself into a zone of safety? And for lack of a better term, more comfort. The next concentric circle that goes around the circle of safety is one of challenge. So oftentimes the zone of challenge creates discomfort for us, but it's not necessarily wholly positive or wholly negative. And oftentimes this zone of challenge is where growth can lie despite the discomfort. And then on the outside of that particular circle is the zone of overwhelm. So this zone of overwhelm is where shame might live, is where extreme mental, emotional, physical duress might live. And this zone of overwhelm is a place that if you find yourself in, then additional help from perhaps a mental health professional and loved ones is greatly recommended. So using these circles of safety, these concentric circles, when you do meet discomfort, can you check in with yourself to see where you're at? Recognizing that you can choose to bring yourself back to a zone of safety or to experience that discomfort a bit more multidimensionally, leaning into it, noticing what emotions are arising for you, naming those emotions, noticing the body sensations that you have in the moment of discomfort, and then also noticing the thoughts that you might have surrounding that situation related to discomfort. In David Trulevin's book, Trauma Sensitive Mindfulness, he offers alternative anchors of attention, as exemplified by many of my patients who have chronic lung disease. Using breath as anchor in the practice of mindfulness can actually bring someone into a zone of overwhelm very quickly, especially when there is the lack of breath. And so some alternative anchors of attention could be the sensations of one's hands or the sensations of one's feet. So inviting you now to think about what your practice might be, a short, focused practice that might help you bring yourself from a zone of overwhelm back to your zone of safety, as one way to recognize, allow, and accept discomfort. But if you find yourself in a place of overwhelm, then choosing a more self-compassionate response. So similarly, checking in immediately when you notice that discomfort is here, to notice the body sensations that you're having, is one way that's helpful to meet discomfort in a more skillful way. And I'll let Jesse talk more about that, because there's definitely some overlap between teachings in mindfulness and also within coaching with regards to physical sensations of discomfort.
I'm curious when you've found these circles of safety. Can you give some examples of maybe where someone might use it, that you've seen it be helpful in a specific scenario?
Sure. So social media, especially this past year surrounding COVID and heightened racial tensions in the country, for instance, social media can be one source of discomfort when something becomes very triggering. And so one way to use the circles of safety are to check in with yourself about where you're landing in experiencing what was just posted, what was just said, and then using that as a form of compass for how you respond to that discomfort, whether you engage in that particularly volatile exchange of words, or if you choose out of self-compassion to disengage from that particular post or that particular person, for instance. So hopefully that helps put it in more context.
So in coaching, we often talk about when you're feeling uncomfortable. And so people will come to coaching feeling very anxious, very frustrated. Overwhelmed would be another very common feeling, that's discomfort. And so we tap into that physical feeling of it. Where is it in your body, very specifically? And this is a tool to help you allow the intensity of uncomfortable feelings to soften, so that you're no longer actively resisting them. And the hope is that they pass through you more quickly. And honestly, through my work, I've pretty much never seen them intensify with this. Sometimes they're still there, but they generally soften. So the idea is, when you feel this perhaps overwhelm or anxiety, you figure out where in your body you feel it. Some people feel it in their belly. Some people feel it in their chest. Some people feel it in their throat. Sometimes it's in the front of their head or in the back of their head. And so taking a moment to notice where that discomfort is and what it feels like. And when you figure out where in your body it is, describing it perhaps as a shape. So is it like a grapefruit or a orange or a tennis ball or a golf ball? or a walnut. Could be any of those things. And even trying to describe it when it comes down to, say, a color, what color is it? And is it well demarcated or blobby? And is it painful? Is it sharp? Is it pulsatile? Is it throbbing? Getting into all of the very specific sort of physical sensations that you feel when you feel this feeling can be incredibly helpful to tap into it, touch it, get to know it. As we talked about earlier, leaning into it. And then with very personal, purposeful intention, allowing yourself to feel it. And most of us resist it. We're willing to describe it and we want to stop there and we don't want to feel it. And so coaching offers the opportunity to feel it. If it's very intense, you can opt for 30 seconds. If it's less intense, you can opt for 3 minutes or 4 minutes. And usually even within 30 seconds of just allowing it to be there, noticing, however you've described it, as a golf ball or a grapefruit, how does it move? Does it soften? Does it grow? Does it move from your chest to your throat to your head? Is it on its way out? Is it growing? Is it softer? Is it less dark? Sometimes things are black and gray and then it lightens a bit. And so really sitting with it and just allowing that feeling to be there without trying to stop it can be a really powerful way to soften it. And if it's something that's really uncomfortable, you set a timer so you know that it will be over. And you know that when that timer beeps, you don't have to feel it any longer. And it's a beautiful way to purposefully dig into the discomfort and allow it to soften. And sometimes we even practice it daily so that you can allow an uncomfortable feeling to soften and ease a little bit. Another strategy in coaching is actually to expect discomfort. There are lots of situations in life where we know something will be uncomfortable. And when we expect it, the discomfort is less. And when we have the discomfort, we're not saying that there's something wrong because we have discomfort. And so the resistance to the discomfort is less. It's like, oh, I was expecting this feeling, or I was expecting this nervousness. And I think when we think about, say, going up to do public speaking, you expect to be nervous. You expect that energy. You don't feel like something's gone wrong when that happens. But when something goes wrong and you're not expecting it, the discomfort feels much more sharp and much more edgy. And so realizing that can be a tool, not so much to sink into the, pre-anticipatory anxiety, but just saying, oh yes, it's likely this will happen. And I have tools with which to handle it when it does. This came up with people who I was coaching early on in COVID, who were perhaps working in the ICU. They knew that they would feel tremendously anxious. And so when the anxiety popped up, it was like, oh, I was expecting this. Doesn't mean that I'm in danger, more danger than I was 2 minutes ago, but just that this was an expected emotion and this is what I can do with it. Or of course I'm going to be anxious. And when you bring that in, it's a tool to sort of soften the discomfort. Once again, you're not making it go away, because when we put all our energy into making it go away, it usually grows stronger. And a lot of that energy just ends up being wasted in the resistance. A final thought that comes up a fair amount is when we think we should be happy, and yet we're not. And we experience discomfort in those moments. And it often happens on holidays or vacations. And sometimes even this upper limit problem where things are going really, really well. A beautiful, unexpected thing works out, or something that you really didn't know or could believe that would be possible. Perhaps a career that you totally love, that everything's just working out smoothly and easily. Or I was working with a surgeon this week, and the thought of being a happy surgeon, so a surgeon who works really hard and has the surgery tools and saves lives, and also has a life that feels manageable and comfortable, that may feel just beyond your level of comfort. And so therefore it causes discomfort. And recently for me, I was on a short family vacation for a wedding. And I realized that I had this opportunity with all of my adult young children and teenagers and their partners, and my husband, and we were all together staying in a beautiful place. And my brain really wanted to find things wrong because I wasn't used to being in this setting where everything could just be going right. And this was at the end of COVID. Everyone could gather. There was nothing to worry about outside of us. Everybody was vaccinated. We're in this beautiful place for a beautiful wedding, and everyone had actually managed to show up. And yet my brain just kept going to what could go wrong, or even just noticing how uncomfortable that moment felt. And it was really quite disconcerting. And so realizing that sometimes we are uncomfortable with good things, and that discomfort is perhaps even, this sounds funny, but perhaps even more uncomfortable than discomfort in difficult situations.
Thank you for calling that out. I think that we set ourselves up with these expectations of what vacations and holidays are supposed to be. And then discomfort arises either which way. If the actual circumstance plays out in a way that we don't expect or is too comfortable. So noticing even the discomfort that arises from comfort and too much of comfort happening. I wanted to remind everyone that you own some key tools. You already possess these key tools to meet discomfort and respond to it in a healthier way. So one such tool is your body. So grounding into the felt physical sensations, as Jessie had just explored, is one way. And then another is to use your palms. So physically bringing your palms wide open so that the palms are facing upwards. Can you use this as an approach to meet discomfort? So this is an approach that's taught in mindfulness courses, where whatever situation you're experiencing, discomfort or otherwise, can just rest on your palms, being held and supported by you unconditionally, where it's in full view for you to be curious about what's happening, for you to allow and accept it while supporting it, not necessarily liking it, but allowing it just to be as it is here in this particular moment, as an opportunity for you to be curious about what's here for you right now. So
That's a beautiful approach to, I'm thinking especially the unexpected discomfort when things are feeling better than they should be. The curiosity about why you're struggling and compassion are two things we haven't talked about today, but not judging it and just being curious and compassionate about what's coming up.
And so discomfort arises sometimes unexpectedly, or we can sometimes intentionally or unintentionally create it. So in all of these cases, though, can the experience of discomfort be an opportunity for growth and perhaps a catalyst for change for the better? Like doing new things, stretching ourselves so that we are coming from a place of growth mindset from, yes, a emotion or a experience of discomfort, like starting a podcast, taking on or applying for a new leadership role, public speaking in general, exploring a new course to build upon a foundation of knowledge. And as always, we wanted to close our episode with some reflection questions for you. What if you expected, allowed, and accepted discomfort as part of your life?
How much more energy and time would you have if you didn't resist discomfort, but embraced it and welcomed it in?
What if you leaned into discomfort rather than resisting it?
What if you created discomfort to move into the life that you want? What if you saw discomfort as a path towards fun, as a path towards growth, as a path towards your dreams?
We allow and accept that discomfort is everywhere.
How you experience it and the impact it has on your life is up to you. We invite you to consider some options to work through discomfort in your life through mindfulness and coaching if they appeal to you. There are opportunities to join us at upcoming retreats where you can explore the discomfort, feel the discomfort, and nourish and heal and grow and transform through the discomfort. And we would love to have you join one of them. If you are experiencing discomfort in your life or in your relationships or in your career, I invite you to join me for coaching one-on-one or join my Mindful Love program that will be happening again in the fall.
Leaning into discomfort in the practice of medicine is part of the Mindful Physicians course that I teach. It might enable you to be the change that you want to see in your own life. So join me for this CME accredited offering that I'm currently enrolling for August. Thanks so much for listening today. If you enjoyed this podcast, please share widely, leave us stars and reviews, and follow the Mindful Healers podcast. Please stay on after the sound of the bell for our mindful moment.
As always, if you want to declutter your mind, be more present, and start truly living your one wild and precious life, come find us at the mindfulhealerspodcast.com.
Work with one of us.
Work with both of us.
Start or up-level your mindfulness practice.
Discover how mindful coaching can change your life.
Or even better, do both as part of our Mindful Healers programs and retreats. You can find links to find out more about our programs and join our communities at themindfulhealerspodcast.com.
Reach out and get started on your journey to a life better lived today.
The content of this podcast is not meant to be medical or life advice. If you choose to participate in our mindful moments, please do so safely.
Welcome to today's mindful moment, an exploration of discomfort, knowing that we so often want to make discomfort go away and immediately want to feel better. And the offering for these few moments is to explore discomfort. See how you can learn and how you can grow from the discomfort itself. Take a deep inhale through your nose, wherever you may be, and an exhale through your mouth. If it's available, take a comfortable seat and ground your sit bones into the earth beneath you. If you're standing or walking, pause and notice your feet upon the earth. If it's available, close your eyes. If you're driving, please just listen and remain safe. Once again, take in another deep inhale through your nose and an exhale through your mouth. Bring your left hand to your heart space. Place it gently atop. Place your right hand atop the left. Take in a deep inhale through your nose and another exhale. Send yourself a bit of compassion into that heart space as we begin. And then draw your attention to the parts of your body where perhaps you feel discomfort. Is it in your forehead? Is it in your throat space? Is it in your chest space? Is it in your belly?
Is it somewhere else? Notice, without judgment, where you may feel discomfort. And notice for a moment, perhaps why you feel discomfort. What is it? Can you attend and notice that? Once again, without judgment. And then take in another deep inhale right into the spots where you notice the discomfort. Deep, nourishing breath. And an exhale. And for a few moments here, allow yourself to be with that discomfort. Whatever it is, whatever thoughts it may be coming from. No rush to have it move through you and leave. See what's there. See what you can learn from it. Notice as you sit here if perhaps you feel restless. Oftentimes in meditation, we do feel restless. We want to get up, we want to leave. When we feel discomfort, we want to avoid and go away. Yet the feelings of discomfort are there to teach us something about ourselves and about being human. And oftentimes we don't want to be human if human involves discomfort. And so just notice the resistance to that, the discomfort, why you may wish to avoid it. And try to focus your attention with loving kindness on those spots of you that feel discomfort. Can you breathe nourishment, healing, kindness, acceptance, and compassion right into those pockets? Perhaps in the lump in the back of your throat, perhaps in the chest pressure. Can you just stay present with it? Can you be gentle? Can you send kindness? Maybe even a little humor. And if you're a wander off, come back to the discomfort. For those of you who do yoga, notice that there are often poses that involve discomfort. And we say in yoga, the pose begins when you want to leave, when the discomfort arises. It's the curiosity and interest in the discomfort that allows you to grow and strengthen. That feels so good on the other side. So can you stay present with the discomfort here, wherever it is in your body? Can you stay with grace? Can you show up for it with compassion? Breathe into it and let it go. Can you just sit with it and breathe? Even if it's ugly, even if it's painful, even if it's hard, or maybe just not fun, can you sit with it and let it transform you? Can you acknowledge that everyone has some form of discomfort? It's not a problem. Discomfort is part of life. Once again, take a deep breath into those pockets of discomfort, nourishing, healing breath, and let it go. Can you notice if perhaps the discomfort has a color? Is it purple? Is it red? Is it blue? Is it gray or black? Does it have a shape? Is it well demarcated? Is it blobby? Is it circular? Is it oval? Is it like silly putty? Is it a grapefruit or a lemon or something smaller, ping pong ball? When you pay attention to it, does it move? Does it soften? A reminder to try not to make it go away, just to explore the discomfort with curiosity, allowing it to be there as part of the human condition. Take a deep breath into it once again, and an exhale. And a moment here to pause and just allow it to be however it is. Once again, not trying to make it go away, just noticing it, describing it, experiencing it as discomfort. Notice how you feel at this point. Has it shifted? Has it softened? Has it changed? Press the heel of your left hand into your heart space once again, sending yourself some kindness and compassion and appreciation for exploring the discomfort. Take in a deep inhale through your nose and an exhale. Bring your hands together at heart center. Press your palms together. Notice each finger pad touch. Notice the sensations and notice the skin to skin with compassion there and kindness. Healing yourself. And take a moment to express an intention or a wish. Might it be possible this week to allow the discomfort that arises as part of being a human in this world and experience it and explore it and be curious and see what happens? I invite you all to try this week. Slowly lower your hands towards your thighs, open your eyes and let the light in. And just notice how perhaps you feel at this moment, realizing that pausing and being present, being mindful, breathing, being curious, and allowing can shift your experience of the inevitable discomfort in life. May you all be well. May you all be safe. May you all be loved. And may you all experience discomfort in a different, perhaps lighter, more easeful way this week. We'll see you next week.